Police officer with a dog! Police officer with a dog, show yourself or I'll send my dog! Stay. Police officer with a dog, it's a final warning! Find him! Where's he, Bear? Watch him, Bear. Watch. Where's he? Good boy! Clever boy! You good boy! Good lad!
They look pretty scary, and their bark is enough to send criminals running. But these dogs are just doing their job. And when it comes down to it, they really are a policeman's best friend.
Okay, so there's a picture of my first police dog. That's Zach. And he, 10 years ago, we sort of joined the dog section. And there's a real special bond with your first police dog. I think probably because you're sort of learning the ropes together. I was a new dog handler. Zach was a new dog. Police dog, so we sort of learnt together really. So I think you get a real special bond with your first police dog. And he worked till he was 9. Yeah, he was a fantastic dog. I couldn't have asked for anything better. The amount of prisoners he got and the bites and tracks. He was such a stubborn dog, never gave up, very intelligent. And he worked until he was about 9 years old. And then unfortunately only had about 12 months retirement until he passed away. I think he sort of really gave up on life. I think he was born to work and loved it so much that when he had to stop doing it, he sort of declined very quickly really. So it was a real shame, but he was a fantastic dog and I loved working him. And you know, watching me going out with a new dog and having to leave him at home, I think it's he didn't like that very much. You know, you get a real special bond with your dog. You spend probably more time with your dog than you do with your family, and when you leave him behind and go to work with a new dog, it's very difficult, and they do struggle to cope with that.
Police dogs often make the headlines, both for good and bad reasons. They seem to be surrounded by controversy, either for their bites or following the search for new homes for unneeded dogs. One recent article in the Daily Mail, however, stated that from 2010 to 2013, the police force unnecessarily put down 84 dogs. In a series of Freedom of Information requests, this investigation looked into how many dogs the police actually put down each year. There are currently over 1,500 dogs serving our country in the police force. From 2011 to 2012, 217 dogs retired. Of these, 100 continued to live with their handler after retirement, and 91 were rehomed to families. 13 dogs were put down. From 2012 to 2013, it was a similar story. Of the 238 dogs who retired, 103 continued to live with their handlers, and 109 were rehomed to the public. 12 dogs were put down. From 2013 to March 2014, 263 dogs retired from our forces. Of these, 122 dogs stayed with their handlers, 116 dogs went to live with families, and just 12 dogs were put down. Over the past 3 years, a total of just 37 dogs were put to sleep, either because of illness or because they were too aggressive to be rehomed. From this information, the Daily Mail story seems to lack a footing and shows just how much the police care for their dogs. An important part of a police dog's life is its initial training, a process which will guide it through the rest of its working life.
You've got to appreciate we work in a public domain. We could go down the street and send a dog after one criminal, and there could be other members of the public around, so we've got to be able to stop our dogs. We've got to justify the bite that we're putting on that person, even if it's a criminal. And the obedience today, it's it's nothing different to what we'd expect from any normal member of the public with a dog. Okay, a responsible owner would have obedience in his dog. You'd expect somebody to make your dog sit, stay, maybe go in the down, okay, and come back to them when they call it. And as the police, we do that. People look up to the police a little bit and think that they are professional dog people, and we just take it a few steps further to get that control in our dogs, like the down, and you've seen it today, the down and walking past your dog and walking around your dog, to increase that steadiness in the dog just to sit. It could be that you catch some criminals in the street and you have to go up and search them as a dog handler. We work on our own, so it would be a case of bringing a dog, putting the dog in the down. You know that the dog's not going to move. You can then go up and search the criminals. But if one of them decided to run or attack you, which could be the fact that dog could then deploy from there. So we need that obedience is just replicating the control we require from our dogs on the street.
That control is really put to the test in situations such as this, a protest in London in 2009. The police and their dogs are set to work in a potentially hostile situation, which could turn violent at any minute. In these situations, a dog may be authorised to bite an aggressive protester, another situation which the dog itself needs to be trained for.
The bite work that we did today, the standoff, wasn't always in the licence, okay? ACPO Association Chief Police Officers brought that in. Basically, although we sent the dog with the same command to bite somebody, if they're running away, if the criminal decides, no, that dog's going to catch me, I'm going to stop, and they stop and face the dogs are trained to stand off. So the dog, in his own mind, although he's been sent to bite, has got to go, hang on a minute, that guy stopped, so I'm not really allowed to bite him now. But what they do, they come in really close, start barking at the person, and just keep them there and detain them enough time for you to catch up with them and put the dog on the lead and control him. So that's the idea of the standoff. Obviously the straight chase you've got is the dog just chasing after somebody and biting them, that they haven't stopped running, they just carry on running, the dog's chase them and bitten them and hold on to them for the policeman to get there.
Yep.
A little bit of a myth is that the dogs bite clothing. They don't bite clothing. If you've got a jacket on, they bite through your clothing. They bite as hard as they can. And if you could experience putting a sleeve on, okay, the big German sleeve I was wearing today, that's got what you call a bite bar in it. Okay, so my arm's very well protected. So when they're actually biting, the pressure goes onto the bite bar. But the softer black sleeve I had on, the pressure comes onto your hand, and it is a lot of pressure coming down on there. And when these dogs are hitting you, they're hitting you at 20 plus miles an hour, and they pull you over, they just knock you to the floor. So and then go back to the obedience. We come in, then they're on somebody. We're the only person who can get that dog off that criminal. And once the dog's detained them, his job's done. We then got a bit of care to that criminal. We call the dog out, get him in the down, search a criminal, and arrest him. And so that's the idea of the bite work that we did today, really.
While general purpose dogs such as this one are trained to bite and to track, there are some other dogs on the scene. Meet Holly, a search dog. She might look cute, but she may well be a criminal's worst nightmare. Trained to sniff out multiple highly used drugs, including but not restricted to cocaine, cannabis, methadone and ketamine, she can also identify firearms, ammunition and cash.
What we're going to do is we're going to show you some block work. It's a simple training method, simple and effective way of teaching the dogs three things really. The first thing is probably to search. Some dogs don't naturally search, so what we would do is hide their tennis ball in one of the blocks and get them to try and find it, and that's the initial stage of training a search dog. The second good thing about block work is it's an easy way to introduce new substances. So as I've already mentioned, she's trained to find quite a lot of substances, and introducing a new substance each time, all we do is literally just put it on the blocks and hopefully she'll recognise the new scent and will indicate on it. We get a passive indication. What I mean by that is that the dog will just freeze and will just stop where the substance is. So she won't bite it, she won't scratch it. So obviously keeps the dog safe and keeps the substance for evidential reasons.
From search dogs back to general purpose dogs, Steiner has spent most of his life serving in the police force here in Gloucestershire with his handler Shelley.
He trained in November 2004 to be a police dog, and he was 11 months old at the time, so he was quite young really, but he did the course really well, flew through that, and then he retired at the end of 2010, and he's now been retired for 4 years. Obviously, as you see, he's got used to living at home now. I couldn't have obviously given him up. I'd say 99% of the dog handlers do keep their dogs. It would only be a case of if they've got too many dogs at home, a couple of dog handlers, their sister or their brother have taken on the dogs when they retire. We do have people that wait on a waiting list as well, so if someone can't keep their dog, they'll rehome. But as you can see, Steiner did nearly 7 years as a working police dog, and now he's adapted quite nicely to just being a family pet. So he would still remember everything that he got taught in his police role, but obviously we don't do any of that anymore. The day he retired was the day that he moved in, sleeps on the sofa and just does his own thing really now around the house. Steiner, come here. He's as good as gold, yeah. I think the good thing with Steiner is he did actually come from a family home, and I did meet the family that had him as a puppy. They got him when he was 8 weeks old, and he did actually grow up with a family of sort of 6 children, so he's always been really quite sociable around people. When he's working, he knew that he was at work, but when we weren't at work, he knew that that was a downtime, and he's no different to having just a normal sort of pet shepherd. I got on the section new. Steiner was my first dog that I got given, and we sort of grew and learnt together really, I guess. And obviously he looked after me for many years. We went to some really scary jobs. We've been involved in a riot in 2005 in Cheltenham, and the whole time of that he stood in front of me looking after me and all the other officers. There's no way, it's my time now to look after him, I figure.
They serve our country. They protect the public and our police officers. They keep our streets safe. But deep down, they still enjoy having fun. After years of serving us, it's only fair that police dogs get the reward they deserve.